morning. So I'm back to put some finishing touches on this painting that I actually started and almost finished in one day yesterday. Last night when I was thinking about the painting, which I often do after I've gone to bed sometimes, I knew I wanted to add some a warmer blue in places. And I just thought I'd tell you how I mix that. I used to use manganese blue, which I love, but pure manganese was very pricey, and I started buying a manganese hue as a substitute, and I didn't like it as much. So I've actually started mixing my own, which I use cobalt blue, and they're both gamelin, and a turquoise. And this is like turquoise something else. I'll have to, it's covered with paint, so I'll find out what the actual name is and I'll put a link to it at the end of the video. So I'm going to add, I've already added a little bit. I'm going to add some more and make sure you can see. I'm also kind of blending it into some cobalt that I added earlier today with a R&F pigment stick right up here at the top, as you can see. And I'm using this silicone tool instead of a brush because I want to do some blending. This is I guess it's for like scraping, it's a scraper for baking like stuff out of a mixing bowl. But I use them all the time for all kinds of stuff. That's how I put my gesso on boards. All right. Makes great lines. So I'm feeling like this warm blue is basically kind of pulling this together a little bit as far as the harmony of the palette goes. Sometimes it's a matter of putting touches where they don't even make sense just for composition's sake. Yeah, oh, I like that a lot. So let me show you that. So I just added all this warm blue, which I really do like. I'm going to probably lighten this up a little bit, and it really pulls this whole, and this one little streak right here, just pull that whole thing together. So how am I going to lighten that up? Well, I'm just going to add a tad of white to this already mixed blue, and I already have quite a bit of wax in there. So what happened just now is I got a little bit of green in there, which I don't mind. It's the hue. Actually, I do mind. So I'm going to put a little bit more white. Make sure you wipe your palette knife off, which is what I didn't do. And now I'm adding just a touch of the cobalt and just a touch of that turquoise. A little bit more turquoise. I think I'm going to add some Galkid medium, which is a liquid medium also made by Gamelin that you can add to cold wax and oil, and it makes it a little bit more viscous, and it also when it dries, just a teeny tiny bit of gloss to it, which I really do like. So I'm not being very exact about this, just a drop. And the reason that I'm doing it this way is that I'm really only putting these final touches on what is a nearly completed painting. Okay, so this is going right here. I think just a tad here. just looking to make sure you can still see what I'm doing on the camera as I'm getting used to videotaping myself. Right here as well. Wipe off this tool. Can really blend well with this. I do use brushes, but for the purpose of what I'm doing here today, I'm not going to. Okay. So I am going to let this sit. Probably come back and do a little bit more. I feel like I need some geometry here. Sometimes just a line right here. This may seem like it's just really random, but it actually is not random at all. Now I want to put some yellow up here, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to actually just mix up a little bit of white and Indian yellow. So remember that you cannot put oil, acrylic on top of oil. So I do have some pigments in acrylic that would work, but since this is quickly becoming a top layer of oil, I have to stick with oil. So I have some white and Indian yellow, which is my favorite. Bright yellow, when you mix it with white, it's like sunlight in a tube. Mixing in a little bit of, yeah, that's what I want. So, a little bit of this right here. Really makes that pop. I'm adding just a tad down here by this metallic gold. And here. Okay. Remember yesterday I said that I signed it. Sometimes after the whole painting is done, I wait to sign it, but I felt optimistic. So I think this is probably close to done. Later today I will come back, and I think I'm going to be able to take the tape off. Usually I have to let this dry for at least 4 or 5 days before I can take off the tape. But because this was an acrylic foundation, it's probably dried nicely, and I'll be able to take it off without any problem. Once you take the tape off, the whole thing just changes, and it's a little bit of a challenge to paint with the blue tape, which some people put white, which I probably should, but I'm just used to the painter's tape. I think my eyes adjusted. I don't even really see it. I basically see a white border when I'm painting. So there you have it. And while this is drying today, I am actually going to clean up my studio because it is a mess, as you can see.